The neon sign above Highway Diner flickered like a dying heartbeat, stubborn, uneven. Inside, the air smelled of coffee, fried bacon, and exhaustion. Emma Rollins wiped down the counter, feeling the hum of the refrigerator echo inside her skull. Heading home, called Dolores from the kitchen, tossing eggs onto the grill. Not yet. Still got an hour left. Girl, you've been on your feet for 20 hours. Bills don't pay themselves, Emma murmured, wringing the rag dry. Rain pressed against the windows. Truckers came and went, no one noticing her, like she was part of the furniture. When her shift finally ended, the manager handed her an envelope. Cut hours this week. You'll get less. But He was already gone. That night she took a one-night catering job at a charity banquet, good pay, a chance to cover part of her father's hospital bill. The ballroom was all light and glass and laughter. Crystal chandeliers. Champagne that cost more than her monthly rent. Emma moved between the tables like a ghost, polite, invisible, not human enough to matter. And then she saw him. A boy, maybe 8 or 9, sitting in a wheelchair near the corner. He tried to reach his fork, but his hands shook. People at his table looked away, pretending not to see. Emma stopped. She couldn't help herself. She took off her glove, walked over, and crouched beside him. Hey, need a hand? The boy blinked up at her. His eyes were dark and too old for his face. You know how to help? He asked softly. I do, she said with a small smile. Once, I needed help too. She guided his hand gently. He managed to lift the fork, take a bite, then looked at her again. Thank you, he whispered, barely audible. For a brief, fragile second, the world around them vanished, just a boy and a woman sharing a human moment in a room full of people pretending to care. Miss Rollins. The sharp voice behind her sliced through the noise. The event manager stood there, stiff, fake smile frozen in place. You're dismissed. Excuse me? You broke protocol. No personal interaction with guests. Mr. Graves complained. Emma blinked. I just helped a child eat. That's not your job, the woman said coolly. Hand in your badge. The boy looked up at her, panicked. Is it because of me? No, sweetheart, Emma said, forcing a smile. You did nothing wrong. Eat before it gets cold. She unpinned her badge, placed it on a silver tray, and walked out. Outside, rain fell hard, washing the glitter from her hair, from her skin, from her one good dress. She stood there, soaked, trembling, and somehow lighter. At the bus stop, she checked her phone. No messages. No missed calls. Her father was probably unconscious again. Hospital bills. Night shifts. Silence. Still alone, she muttered. Guess that's nothing new. A black car rolled past. Tinted windows. For a split second, she saw the boy inside, his small face pressed against the glass, a stuffed bear clutched to his chest. Emma froze. Something, fear, intuition, tightened in her chest. The door cracked open for half a second, then slammed shut. The car sped off, tires hissing through the rain. What the hell, she whispered, wiping water from her face. She didn't know it yet, but that was the moment her old life ended, right there, in the cold rain, unemployed and invisible. Because that smile, that small, trembling smile of a forgotten boy, had just drawn the attention of a world where kindness had a price. The morning didn't begin with sunlight, it began with a heavy knock. Emma flinched, spilling her coffee. The mug shattered, dark liquid spreading across the tile like a slow stain. "Who is it?" Her voice trembled. Silence. Only the rain outside. She looked through the peephole. A black car stood by the curb, sleek, unmarked. A man waited beside it. Tall, broad-shouldered, motionless, as if carved from stone. "Miss Rollins," he said when she cracked the door open on the chain. His voice was calm, deep, too controlled to be anything ordinary. "We need to talk." "Who are you?" "My driver will take you." "I'm not going anywhere." He smiled faintly, a small, cold curve of the lips. "You already are." Behind her, the phone rang, the landline she hadn't used in years. She turned, confused, picked it up. The same voice spoke through the static. "Get in the car, Miss Rollins. Otherwise, your neighbors might hear something unpleasant." Her hand shook as she hung up. She grabbed her coat and stepped outside. The car smelled of leather and winter air. Inside, the man waited, the same one from the doorway. His eyes were the color of storm clouds. Beside him sat the boy from the charity banquet. "Luca," she whispered. He smiled at her, shyly. "You know my son," the man said. "He told me you helped him." You did what no one else dared," he interrupted. "That matters." He leaned forward slightly, studying her as though she were a puzzle he'd already half solved. "My name is Nolan Graves." Emma froze. She'd heard the name before, in whispers, in half-finished sentences at the diner. People who said it always lowered their voices, as if the name itself could hear. "My son's been through an incident," Nolan said quietly. "Since then, he doesn't speak much. Doesn't trust anyone. Except you." He turned to the boy. "Do you want her to stay with us?" Luca nodded. "I can pay you," Nolan continued, pulling out a sealed envelope. "More than you've ever been offered." "I'm not a nanny," Emma said, trying to steady her breathing. "No," he replied, voice low and controlled. "You're someone my son believes in. That's rarer than loyalty." "Why me?" "You could hire anyone." "I could," Nolan said, "but money can't buy sincerity." He set the envelope on the seat beside her. It was thick, crisp, heavy. "A month's advance. 10 times your yearly salary." Emma didn't move. "And if I say no?" He tilted his head, almost sympathetically. "Then I'll regret it," he said softly. "And I hate regretting things." The city blurred past the tinted windows, dissolving into mist and rain. "Where are we going?" she asked. "Home," he said. "Ours. And now, yours." She turned to him sharply. "If I agree, can I leave whenever I want?" He met her gaze, his expression unreadable. "Of course," he said finally. "Everyone leaves eventually. The question is, how far they get." The gates opened in silence, swallowing the car whole. The estate rose before them like something out of another century, stone, glass, shadow. Guards moved with the precision of a well-trained orchestra. Cameras followed every motion. "This isn't a home," Emma murmured under her breath. But the boy was smiling now, pressing his small hand against the window as if seeing the world again. And Emma realized, with a shiver, that she had stepped into a place where kindness was currency, and she had just been bought. "Hey, hold on a second. If what I'm saying right now touched you, even a little. If you've ever felt small, unseen, or lost, I get you. Truly. You're not alone. And if you've got even a little bit of strength left, just grab your phone." Hit the like button, drop a few words in the comments. And subscribe. For you, it's just a second. But for me, it's a sign. A sign that there's someone out there. Someone real. Who's listening, who feels this too. Thank you for being here. Really. From the heart. All right, let's keep going. The Graves estate didn't feel like a home. It felt like a fortress pretending to be one, too perfect, too silent, as if no one inside dared to breathe without permission. When Emma stepped inside, the air itself seemed heavier, sterile, like filtered air in a hospital. Every sound echoed too clearly, even the click of her shoes on the marble. A woman was waiting at the top of the stairs, silver hair, severe posture, eyes the color of cold steel. "Miss Rollins," she said, her voice crisp. "I'm Mrs. Hale. I run this house." "Thank you," Emma murmured. "I hope you're stronger than the last ones," the woman added, almost kindly. "Most don't last long here." Emma frowned. "The last ones?" "The caretakers. They left." "Left?" Mrs. Hale's lips curved faintly. "No one leaves this house, Miss Rollins. They simply stop coming back." In the foyer, two women stood with suitcases. Nurses, by the look of them. Pale, exhausted, eyes rimmed red. They turned when Emma entered. "New girl?" the older one asked, her voice raw. "Don't stay." "I'm sorry." "Take my advice," she whispered. "He's not looking for a caretaker. He's looking for control." Enough. The words sliced through the air like a blade. Nolan Graves descended the stairs, immaculate suit, unreadable face, the kind of presence that filled the room before he spoke. "Miss Connolly. Miss Reed. You've been compensated." "We don't deserve to be treated this way," the older one burst out. "We tried to help your son." "You tried to diagnose him," Nolan said calmly. "He doesn't need a diagnosis. He needs loyalty." The women froze. One of them lowered her voice. "There's something wrong in this house," she whispered. "Something wrong with you. Out." He didn't raise his voice. He didn't have to. Even the guards by the door straightened as if the temperature had dropped 10 degrees. The women hurried out, dragging their suitcases behind them. As they passed Emma, one leaned close and murmured, "If he ever smiles at you, run." Dinner was silent. Luca barely touched his food, staring at his plate. Afterward, Emma took him outside to the glass conservatory. The air smelled of jasmine and rain. "Why is everyone so afraid of your father?" she asked gently. He shrugged. "He just decides things." "All things?" "Yes. Even things nobody asks about." He looked at her with solemn, too old eyes. "But he doesn't scare you." "That's strange." She smiled faintly. "Maybe because I don't understand what I should be afraid of." Luca laughed, a small, real sound that filled the quiet garden like sunlight through glass. From the second floor, behind a curtain, someone watched. Later that night, when Luca was asleep, Emma wandered through the corridors searching for the kitchen. Most of the house was dark, but at the end of one hallway a light still burned. Nolan stood by the window, a glass of whiskey in his hand. His jacket was off, his sleeves rolled. In the reflection of the glass, she saw him watching the city below like a king surveying a battlefield. "Can't sleep?" she asked softly. He turned, unbothered. "Work doesn't sleep, Miss Rollins." On the table beside him lay an open folder. Her name was on it. "You investigated me," she said quietly. "Of course," he replied. I don't trust chance. Do you trust anyone? Those who don't lie to themselves. Does that include you? A ghost of a smile touched his lips. I'm the best liar I know. I just tell myself prettier stories. He took a step closer. Close enough that she caught the faint scent of tobacco and rain. Luca laughed today, he said, voice low. That hasn't happened in a long time. He's a child, Emma said. He just needed someone to treat him like one. People are dangerous, Nolan said quietly. Especially the kind that smile. Their eyes met, too long for comfort. If you're afraid here, say so, he murmured. No one keeps you against your will. And if I leave? He set down his glass. Then the house will be quiet again. And my son will stop laughing. Emma couldn't sleep that night. The hum of security cameras pulsed through the walls. Somewhere down the hall, voices whispered, sharp, coded, professional. She sat up, staring at the mirror across from her bed. In the reflection, for just a moment, she thought she saw a man's figure behind her, watching. Then it vanished. The house was alive. Breathing. Watching. And in that suffocating stillness, Emma realized something that scared her more than Nolan Graves ever could. She felt safer when he was near. At first, Emma didn't notice the changes. They came quietly, like a draft slipping under a locked door, faint but cold. Her phone stopped getting a signal. She thought it was just bad reception, until she realized the mansion's Wi-Fi didn't even appear on the list. Then came the small things. Her room key no longer fit the outer gate, her schedule was adjusted without her being told. When she tried to go into town, just to buy some books for Luca, the guard at the gate smiled politely. Mr. Graves asked me to remind you that anything you need will be delivered here. I just wanted. Delivery, he repeated, his tone unchanged, eyes flat. That night, someone entered her room. Quietly. Too quietly. When she switched on the lamp, no one. Only a white envelope on her nightstand. Inside was a photograph. Her and Luca, in the garden, laughing. Shot from a distance. On the back, Nolan's handwriting, don't worry. Safety comes first. She sat for a long time staring at the note. The word safety had never sounded so much like possession. Luca was changing too. He smiled more, asked questions, clung to her presence like sunlight in a dark house. One morning, while they were painting by the fountain, he asked. Emma, when was the last time you went outside? Outside? The gates, he said. Do they ever open for you? She forced a smile. They open when they need to. Papa says outside is dangerous, Luca whispered. Do you believe him? He shrugged, his brush still moving across the paper. Do I have a choice? The words stayed with her all day. By evening, the walls themselves seemed to hum. Cameras followed her subtly, she could feel it, like a prickle at the back of her neck. The servants stopped making eye contact. Conversations ended when she entered the room. She found solace only in small, stolen moments, Luca's laughter, the sound of rain on the glass roof, the seconds before lights went out, when the house exhaled and she could almost believe she was free. One night, she went to the library, the only room that ever felt alive. Books, warmth, a faint trace of pipe smoke. Nolan was there, sitting by the fire, half in shadow. You're awake, he said, without looking up. I couldn't sleep. Too quiet? Too controlled. He smiled, slow, dangerous. Control is peace, Miss Rollins. You'll learn that. I thought peace was freedom. Freedom, he said, closing his book, is the lie we tell ourselves before someone stronger corrects it. Their eyes met. Something heavy hung in the air, not fear, not yet. Something else. You're angry, he said softly. I'm human, she replied. That, Nolan murmured, is what makes you unpredictable. He stood, walked past her. When he reached the door, he paused. Don't try to leave again, Emma. I wasn't. You were, he said calmly. And next time, ask me first. It's safer that way. When he left, the library felt smaller. The flames in the fireplace flickered weakly, as if struggling for air. That night, Emma lay awake, staring at the ceiling camera's faint red light. The word safety echoed in her mind again, sharp, suffocating. She wasn't sure anymore whether the house was keeping danger out or keeping her in. The morning started with shouting. Emma woke to voices echoing down the corridor, sharp, male, panicked. She threw on her robe and stepped into the hall. Guards were running toward Luca's room. What's going on? She asked. No one answered. They passed her like she didn't exist. Luca, she whispered, breaking into a run. The door to his room was open. Inside, chaos. The bed was empty. The wheelchair overturned. One of the guards stood frozen by the window, radio pressed to his ear. Where is he? Emma demanded. Where's the boy? The man didn't look at her. Stay back, Miss Rollins. What happened? She shouted. Before he could answer, Nolan entered, coat thrown over his shoulders, eyes hard as stone. He didn't shout. He didn't need to. Everyone out, he said. The room emptied instantly. Emma's voice trembled. Where is he? Nolan stared at her. You tell me. What are you talking about? He took a step forward and handed her a tablet. On the screen, grainy footage from the security cameras. Emma. Carrying Luca down the hall. She froze. That's not real. I didn't. It's timestamped 2 hours ago, Nolan said. You left through the east corridor. Gate 3. That's impossible. I was asleep. He leaned closer, his voice low and dangerous. Then explain why my son is gone. Her throat tightened. You think I would hurt him? I think, he said, that I let someone into my house without checking what she truly wanted. I wanted a job, she shot back. I wanted to help a child who needed someone to talk to. Nolan slammed his hand against the wall beside her head. She flinched, but he didn't touch her. Do you have any idea what you've done? I didn't do anything, she cried. Please, Nolan, listen. He turned away, running a hand through his hair. For the first time, she saw fear in his face, the kind that comes only when power starts to slip. Lock her in the east room, he said. 2 guards appeared instantly. You can't do this. Emma shouted as they grabbed her arms. He needs me. He trusts me. Nolan didn't answer. The east room was dark, windowless, cold. They left her with nothing, no phone, no light, only the sound of distant rain tapping the walls. Hours passed. Or maybe minutes. She couldn't tell. Finally, the door opened. Mrs. Hale entered, her expression unreadable. Mr. Graves wants to know if you've changed your story, she said. Emma looked up. You really think I did it? I think you're breathing, Hale replied. That's already more than some get after disappointing him. Emma swallowed. Then why am I still here? Because he's not sure yet. Sure of what? Whether to believe you, Hale said, then hesitated. Or destroy you. The door slammed shut again. That night, a whisper outside her door, a key turning. Emma sat up. The door creaked open, and a guard slipped inside. Not one she recognized. You want to live, he said quickly. Then listen. The boy's alive. Her pulse spiked. Where? Dockside. Warehouse by the river. They took him this morning. Who? He hesitated. People who used to work for Graves. Cole's men. Why are you telling me this? Because if Graves finds them first, everyone dies. You're the only one he might not shoot on sight. He handed her a phone. Take this. Leave now. Emma didn't wait. She slipped into the corridor barefoot, heart hammering. The mansion was silent, asleep under its layers of control. As she passed the library, a voice came from the darkness. Going somewhere? She froze. Nolan stepped out of the shadows, gun in hand. I should have known you'd run, he said quietly. You always do when it gets hard. Her voice shook. He's alive, Nolan. They took him, Cole's men. Your people betrayed you. He didn't lower the gun. And you expect me to believe that? Yes. Look at me, she cried. If I wanted to hurt him, I'd have left long ago. He hesitated, just long enough. That hesitation saved her. She kicked the side table into him and ran. Shots echoed through the hall. Glass shattered. Alarms erupted. She tore through the east wing, down the servants' corridor, out through the maintenance door. Rain hit her face like ice. Behind her, the mansion roared to life, engines, shouts, chaos. But Emma didn't stop. She had one thought, one heartbeat, one truth left. Find Luca before Nolan does. Rain slammed against the docks, turning the asphalt into black glass. Emma's shoes slipped as she ran between the silent warehouses, clutching the cheap phone the guard had given her. The screen blinked, one message, Pier 9. Hurry. She spotted the warehouse, rusted doors, a single light burning above. Inside, voices. Rough, male. Laughter. And then, Luca's cry. Shut him up, someone snarled. Emma pushed the door open just enough to see. 3 men. One leaned against a crate, holding his gun loosely. Another stood near Luca, who was tied to a chair, trembling but silent. Her heart pounded. She needed a distraction. Her eyes landed on a stack of oil barrels. She picked up a metal rod, threw it. The clang echoed like a gunshot. What the hell was that? As the men turned, Emma slipped inside, crawling behind crates. Luca saw her, his eyes widened. She pressed a finger to her lips. One of the men cursed, heading toward the noise. The second checked his phone. Boss says Graves is coming himself. The first snorted. Good. Let him watch us burn his empire down. Outside, engines. Tires screeching. Headlights swept through the cracks in the walls. Emma's breath hitched. She knew that sound. Nolan's cars. The doors exploded open. Armed men flooded in, shadows and muzzle flashes. Gunfire tore through the dark, deafening, chaotic. Emma ducked, covering Luca with her body. A figure moved through the chaos, calm, deliberate, unstoppable. Nolan. He shot one man cleanly, turned, fired again. Every bullet precise. His coat was soaked, his face unreadable. When it was over, the room smelled of gunpowder and rain. Emma was shaking, still holding Luca. Nolan stood a few feet away, gun lowered, eyes locked on her. "You found him," he said hoarsely. "You almost killed me getting here." "You ran," he said simply. "You locked me in a room." They stared at each other, breathing hard, soaked, alive. Luca whispered, "Please, stop." Nolan knelt beside him, cutting the ropes. His hands trembled. "I'm sorry, son." Emma watched, the ruthless man suddenly human, terrified of losing what he loved most. Luca clung to her arm. "Don't leave us." The words hit both adults like a blow. Nolan rose slowly. "Take him," he said to his men. "Get him out of here." Emma stood. "Where?" "Someplace safe." He turned back to her. Rain streaked down his face, washing away the calm. "You were right," he said quietly. "Someone inside betrayed me." "Then stop punishing the wrong person," she said. Nolan looked at her for a long time. The distance between them was a breath and a lifetime. "I don't know how," he admitted. Sirens wailed in the distance. Police. Too close. He tossed her the car keys. "Go. Take him. If they find me, they'll find you too." She hesitated. "Come with us." His smile was faint, broken. "You don't survive my world by running, Emma. You survive by disappearing." She wanted to argue, but the sirens grew louder. Nolan turned away, stepping into the rain. "Take care of him," he said. Then he was gone, swallowed by the chaos, by the night he belonged to. Emma carried Luca to the car. The boy whispered, "He's coming back, right?" She didn't answer. As the car sped away, the warehouse behind them burned, flames twisting in the storm, devouring everything that had chained them there. For the first time in a long while, Emma didn't feel like a shadow. She felt alive. But the echo of Nolan's voice, low, unbreakable, stayed with her long after the city lights disappeared. Freedom always costs more than we think. Spring came quietly, no gunfire, no sirens. Only the smell of coffee and sunlight through thin curtains. The small apartment on the city's edge looked like a place borrowed from other people's lives, mismatched furniture, second-hand books, photographs without frames. But it was warm. And safe. Luca sat at the kitchen table, metal braces on his legs glinting faintly. He poured coffee into 2 cups, concentrating hard not to spill. "Careful," Emma said, smiling. "I did it," he announced proudly, handing her one. She took the cup in both hands, savoring its warmth. "You've gotten stronger. And you stopped being scared," he said softly. Outside, the city moved, loud, ordinary, unaware of how much blood had been spilled to make this silence possible. On the wall, the clock ticked steadily. Luca went back to his drawing, a garden, with tall trees and glass walls that looked too familiar. "Do you think he's alive?" he asked suddenly. Emma froze. "Who?" "Dad." She looked toward the window, where sunlight fractured through the glass. "I don't know," she said finally. "But men like him don't just disappear." Luca nodded and said nothing more. That night, when he was asleep, Emma stepped onto the balcony. The streets below gleamed with rain. The air smelled of gasoline and freedom. She closed her eyes, breathing it in, letting herself feel peace, fragile, almost real. Then a sound. A faint electronic tone. She turned. The phone on the table lit up, no number, no message. Just 2 words. "Still watching." Emma's fingers tightened on the railing. Across the street, in the dark, a spark flared, a cigarette, glowing red for a heartbeat. A figure stood there, barely visible, watching. She didn't scream. Didn't move. Just whispered into the night. "I knew you weren't dead." Somewhere below, faint and unmistakable, someone smiled.